Yeah, well, they're pretty nasty things, and on this farm you're meant to have what's called a has-no ticket to be able to operate certain sprays, and I don't have one. And the reason I don't have one is because I won't handle all the nasty sprays. I'd handle the next tier of sprays below that, which doesn't require a ticket at all. And hopefully those sprays are somewhat more, they're more readily or less likely to infect me in any way or affect me over time, because they don't have as many hazardous substances in them as the has-no jobs. So they're not as poisonous. But I may pay a price in time because they're probably not as effective either at what they need to be doing. But I don't seem to have a problem. I'm still able to kill grass readily. I use Roundup. Roundup's not a has-no product, so I don't have to have a ticket to handle it. They say it's inert when it hits anything that's not organic. So technically, if it's spilt on the concrete or on the dirt, it has no effect, if that is correct. But there are some things we still don't know about these things. So I have to assume they know what they're talking about. So they're safe. They're meant to be safe. So I use that tier of products in the chemical department. And all the rest I don't bother with because I haven't got a ticket to handle them. But I still deal with pesticides, so we're still killing bugs, diamondback moth, armyworm are the two probably most common ones, white butterfly, because they all affect our brassicas and our corn. And corn you're paying $3,000 a hectare to put a yield of corn in over a 6-month period, so you don't mess around with it. If you need to put pesticide in, you put a pesticide in it. It's like tipping fly spray into your spray mix. Even
do there weeds that you have on this farm that you find it necessary to get rid of either by pulling or using sprays on?
Yep, yeah, there's the usual rafter weeds. Roundup will take care of most of them, but where you don't want to kill everything, because that'll kill everything, and kills the grass as well, you have to use things like, a product we use is batten, and batten is a mixture of a product called MCPA and 2,4-D, and both been around for a long period of time, both manufactured in New Zealand, in New Plymouth actually, and by Ivan Watkin Dow, and they will kill selectively most broadleaf weeds. So I use a bit of that. More recently, I just use the mulcher. We put the mulcher through this time of the year. We trash everything on top of the soil, even if it doesn't matter what stage of growth it's at, it's going to die. And if I want to have a more beneficial effect than that, I'll use a litre of Roundup to the hectare in advance and scorched earth policy on top of thrashing. And that's the nature of Kikuya, because Kikuya is a Latin American grass that grows here all year round, and we grow it here primarily because it doesn't die in a drought. It's called a naturophile. So when you go to university, the first thing you'll study about Kikuya, because it's in any pasture production or pasture production paper, it's referred to as Kikuyu, and it's a naturophile, which means it's set apart from other ryegrasses in that it doesn't take up sodium. It's the only thing it doesn't do that other plants do. It doesn't take sodium up. Neither does maize or corn. It's a naturophile. So is sorghum. So is lucerne. There's a whole heap of them that don't take sodium up, called naturophobes, and they're very common. The reason Kikuyu is so successful here is because you look on top of the ground and you see grass, right? But if you go ripping up the ground, there's as much bulk underneath the soil in the root system as there is grass on top of the system. And that's why you can't kill it, because it's so dense on top and underneath the soil. It's very, very